Back to one of our top stories now. A verdict in a landmark mass rape trial in France. A warning, though, some of the details are disturbing. The ex-husband of Gisele Pelicot has been found guilty of repeatedly drugging and raping her for almost a decade and inviting dozens of strangers to rape her while she was unconscious. A crowd of supporters were on hand as Gisele Pelicot left the court this morning. After the verdict, Gisele Pelicot was sentenced to the maximum, 20 years. 50 other men were also found guilty of rape, attempted rape, or sexual assault. Gisele Pelicot says she thought of her grandchildren, that, quote, "It's also for them that I led this fight." During the trial, Gisele Pelicot admitted that for years he knocked out Gisele with drugs so that he and strangers he recruited could abuse her. He also denied misleading the other defendants, saying, quote, "I am a rapist like the others in this room." And CTV's Kamil Karamali joins us now with more on this. Kamil, quite the shocking case.
Yeah, absolutely, and horrific details as well, Roger. Pelicot now even more of a feminist hero than she already was during the course of this trial after speaking out, after the verdict was read, talking about other victims and survivors whose stories remain untold. But just to recap what we know and in terms of why this has resonated, not just for the people in France, but for sexual assault survivors around the world. She chose to waive her right to anonymity and chose to stand up to her abusers in court. Usually in sexual assault cases, the survivors won't be identified, but Pelicot made sure her story was told through her own lens during the trial. There were more than 3 months of testimony, including her husband, Dominique, or her ex-husband, carefully recapping how he often tranquilized his wife of 50 years during their last decade together, and then let dozens of strangers he met online rape her while she was unconscious. The evidence was also jaw-dropping, horrific, and very strong against Dominique, who had recorded and cataloged the encounters. Police found more than 20,000 photos and videos as well. Gisele herself found to have the videos or fought to have those videos shown openly in court to support that she was unconscious and not a willing participant. She wanted the public and those in the courtroom to see firsthand what had happened to her while she was unconscious. Now, all 50 men stood trial for aggravated rape and attempted rape. One was accused for aggravated sexual assault. Prosecutors had argued that those men received sentences between 10 to 18 years, but the court decided to be a bit more lenient than prosecutors had hoped, with many of them receiving less than 10 years. Have a listen to what one analyst from France had to say, just related to what the sentencing of those 50-plus men.
When it comes to the other sentences that were handed down today, they're below what prosecutors had been asking for. We're looking at, between 3 and 15 years behind bars. And as you just mentioned, some of these convicted, they had already spent time in prison. And that means that some of them walk free today.
And her ex-husband, Dominique, once again, Roger, being sentenced to 20 years in jail, a maximum of 20 years, and him being 72 years old, that could mean that he may spend the rest of his life behind bars.
I imagine many women in France hoping this is a day of reckoning for sexual assault in that country. Has it started more of a Me Too movement there?
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, her words are resonating with so many people, not just in France, but sexual assault survivors and women around the world. Once again, she spoke to those women directly after the verdict and sentencing was complete, to a mass, group of supporters and reporters as well. She said, "I want you to know that we share the same fight." She said she also expressed gratitude towards her supporters, saying that the messages from her supporters gave her the strength to come back every day and survive through these long hearings, Roger.
Okay, CTV's Kamil Karamali, thank you for that update.